Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable right here at Star Nation's organization's main fan page on Facebook. Welcome. Today is Monday, June 10th. Yay! I love the 10th of every month. It's a fun day. I love it. So welcome, and welcome to Star Nation's Academy, where I am broadcasting from. This is where I generally do most of my live streams from. Occasionally, I might be down at my home, coming to you from the meditation room. But today, it's the Star Nation's Academy. And so welcome. Today is such a beautiful day here. Oh my gosh, it's 71 degrees. Partly cloudy skies, and we have a breeze, and which means the mosquitoes aren't as bad. So it's a really good day here at Star Nations in Tomah, Wisconsin. That's for sure. So, so much this weekend was. Holy smokes. I was telling Paul, I said, I don't think we could have fit much more into one weekend. Yeah. So this morning, we published the Star Nations magazine, and I have to tell you that the 10th of every month when we publish the magazine is one of my favorite days of the month. There's such a sense of accomplishment and achievement and joy that's attached to it, because it takes several weeks to produce and create a single issue. And so when it all falls together and I can hit the publish button and we can start promoting it, it's so much fun and it's so exhilarating. So it kind of matches my my personality too, my sun sign, right? I'm a triple Sagittarian, and so it's good stuff. It's good stuff. We're going to be doing a show about it tomorrow night, so we'll talk a lot more about the magazine tomorrow. Before we get into the card information and the conversation here at within the chat room and all of that, I am going to like and share the broadcast, the live stream, and I would invite you to do the same, even if you just share it with one other person. That's a good thing. And so I'm going to share mine over to my timeline, my newsfeed. Let's see. I'm going to write a post. I'm using my phone. And then we're going to send it over to my newsfeed and make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be there. So I'm just going to let my friends know I'm live streaming. And then to please join us. There we go. All right. And we're going to post that. Good. It's looking good. All right. Got to turn down my sound. We don't get all squelchy. There we go. Okay. Let's see who's in the chat. This is also a fun part of the show. Get to see who's all here with me. And look, Rochelle's here. Hello, Rochelle. How you feeling, lady? I hope you're doing better each day, getting a little bit stronger and feeling a little bit better, right? I hope so. And Deborah's here too. Hello, Deborah. And Deborah, you must be at your cabin. You're all retired now, right? Right? So we're going to have to get together since you're so close. Maybe we'll do an afternoon tea or something like that. Edward's here too. Hello, Edward. He waves hello. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much, Edward, for sharing. I really do appreciate that. And so do other souls who are looking for, a spiritual community, or maybe the kind of conversation that we have here or the card information. So we're helping out other people here. Hello, Rob. I know you're not here. That's okay. I know you try to make it here every day, but you don't really quite appear, right? Yeah. When I used to have a 9-to-5 before I started my own business, I worked for the state of Wisconsin, and I had a good job. I enjoyed myself. It was I was in child support for several years and out in the county, and then we moved closer to Madison, and I applied for a position at the Bureau of Child Support, and I got the position. I was a planner at the time, program planner, and so I now like they trained me. They trained me how to write without putting any of my personality or any of me into the document. Took me a while to get the hang of that one. But as we're writing, answering correspondence and that kind of thing, I would have my headphones on. We didn't have earbuds then. Headphones on to different things, on listening to music usually, but sometimes it would be internet radio, right? There wasn't live stream at the time. And so I kind of know what you mean, Rob. I'm here, but I'm not here, because sometimes I had to step away from whatever it was that I was listening to go answer a question or ask a question or, put out a fire kind of thing. And yes, I know what you mean. I'm just glad you're here, Rob, or not here, I should say. Deborah says, I'm in Dubuque. Really? You're babysitting today. Then back to the cabin, our home, and I'd love to get together for tea. Okay, yay, good. Because maybe we could bring in Bobby and maybe a few of the other people who are close, within driving, That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? So yeah. Well, have fun babysitting. I'm so glad you could join us. Maybe they're taking a nap, right? While you're listening. And Rochelle says, I go to the doctor's tomorrow in Grand Rapids. Then I'm supposed to go home and have home care until I can drive. Then go to outpatient therapy. Okay. Well, I knew, knee replacement takes a long time to recover from, right? And the therapy takes a while. And so, you got that turtle medicine with you, Rochelle. We went through and shared turtle medicine yesterday. So it's slow and steady, and you got stability. You got good knees now, and yeah, slow and steady, and you'll get there. And enjoy the now, right? That's what they were trying to say yesterday. Yeah, it sounds great. Well, I'll try to get it arranged. It probably won't be until later this month, or even beginning part of July. Okay, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Maybe if we do it, I don't know. We'll have to pick a day that maybe like on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday midday or something like that. We could get some people up from Madison yet. Because we have some people, I have some friends who listen to the shows and read the magazine and that sort of thing. They live in Madison, but they have a cabin up here. You know the trick, right? Deborah, you guys lived that for quite a while. So if we kind of do it like on a weekend, it's possible we could get some of those people up here as well. I think so. I was going to show you guys something. I need to get the pictures up. Hang on. I got to access them through. And let's see, here we go. Get that going. All right. I wanted to share something with you guys before we get started, to show you the medicine wheel layout that the author of Spirit of the Wheel meditation cards, Linda Iwashina. This is the deck that we're using right now. I don't have the box anymore. Got this deck, I think it was like 2008 or 2007 or something like that. And so this is the front of the cards that she has in the deck. And I want to show you the medicine wheel layout that Linda is writing about, that she's sharing with us, okay? Because yesterday when we were doing the turtle medicine card, there was a number 5 on the card, and I was telling you that it was the placement of that stone that represents the turtle clan on the medicine wheel that the author is sharing with us. And so it's another interpretation of the medicine wheel. And I thought it might be helpful if we saw where the stones are being laid out on a diagram, right? Yeah. Deborah's saying 18-month-old napping, 4-year-old is watching Dora. So everybody's happy. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. So here is the medicine wheel layout. And I hope you can see it. I mean, you might have to download it possibly and print it out. You know, we want to make sure that this is not my work. This is Linda Iwashina's work. We want to make sure we give credit where credit is due, right? And so in order to help you understand, if you want to, you don't have to, right? But if you want to understand the placement of the energy of the card that on the wheel, you might want to do that. You don't have to, but I thought it might be a little extra something for those of you who are searching for and sifting through your belief systems, right? Yeah. So, so I thought I would share that with you. And what's Edward saying here? He says, I now have my 7-year-old partially sighted cat sitting on my knee here in Liverpool, UK. Well, oh my goodness. I knew that you were from the UK, but I didn't know that you were from Liverpool, Edward. So thank you so much for being with us. It's evening over there, right? Or late afternoon, I should say. No, it'd be, I don't know what, 8 o'clock? Something like that. 9 o'clock. Yeah. So I'm glad, your 7-year-old partially sighted cat. Yeah. So is your cat like a familiar for you, or, like a power animal kind of thing? Yeah. Sometimes we get really attached to our pets, don't we? Because George is here with me. He's going to be 11 months old in a few days, and and he helps. He wanted to know what his job was going to be. And so I asked him if he would be able to help us during the shows. And by doing that, to hold energy for us. And many times he is laying underneath the table where the computer is, my laptop. And a lot of times he's practically right on top of my feet. And he's doing it. He's kind of laying right next to me here. And so, we get very close to them because they help us, right? And Edward's saying, right. Yes, I found her on the street. Oh, you found her or she found you? Sometimes we even get that, that who was really there for who at the time, right? Of course, that also falls into right time, right place, doesn't it? Right time, right place. So here is our first card for today. And it is a card that represents the spirit of the South. Here, let me get rid of this. There we go. And I wrote this out, but I didn't show it because we have a brand new name for this live stream show. And some people might recognize the show by the daily live stream. I didn't know what to call it at first because this was actually an experiment earlier in last year, and so so I think we have a more appropriate name for the live stream. So here is the very first card that came, and it's the spirit of the South. Now I'm going to try to pronounce this. Now remember, this is a language that comes from the indigenous nation, one of the indigenous nations from British Columbia. Okay. And I think anyway, I'm still trying to verify that. And so I'm going to try to pronounce this. Shawdonese, depending on how they pronounce their E's. Shawdonese, spirit of the South. It's all about lessons, growth, and trust. And this is according to the medicine wheel, the Native American medicine wheel, one of the very, very many interpretations of the wheel. Don't you just love this picture though? See, we have the sacred pipe, and out of the pipe in the smoke is coming, it looks like wolf and a large cat, maybe a cougar, mountain lion. You can kind of see the smoke and how it's coming up, and how the cat is sitting right in, coming out of the pipe, right? Yeah. We got 3 feathers, and they're usually eagle feathers, but we can't really tell from this picture. Yeah. I really like the artistry on these cards. Yeah. And so, this author, she gives us her information about the spirit of the card, right? But she also gives us a prayer. And since this is our first time through this deck together, I'm going to actually read to you what she's written about the card. Now, if this card comes up again in sometime in the future, this month, then we won't necessarily have to read it. But since this is our first time with the South Shawdonese, I'm going to try it again. Let's slow down. Shawdonese. And notice the number on the card is 11. And so it's the 11th stone on the medicine wheel. Okay. And 11 happens to be a master number, right? Okay. So here is what she's written about this card. She says, "You have reached a significant stage in your own growth. You have reached a significant stage in your own growth. Inner transformation occurs because you have outgrown the parts of yourself that are no longer serving your higher good. You're discovering the power of the self. The self represents the emotional maturity derived from life lessons. The fire of the self heralds a time of much achievement. Facing your fears is never an easy task, but it is now within your power to control your fear. Be gentle with yourself and feel good about where you are. Learn to love yourself and others unconditionally. Lessons can be painful at times, so we should not always take ourselves too seriously. When we lighten up on our life and on ourselves, we can see things from a healthier perspective. Learn to trust in the divine plan. In the meantime, when you look back on a difficult experience, you'll understand the importance of the lesson learned." Okay, that's the meaning of the card. Hey, Tina's here. Hang on, Tina. I'll get it for you, okay? Rob says I'll have to catch the archives. Okay, no worries, Rob. I'm just glad that you were able to join us for a little bit. Okay. Hey, Tina, it's a brand new deck that we're using. Well, it's a different deck. This is copyrighted 2006. Okay, and it's the Spirit of the Wheel meditation cards. And the author is Linda Iwashina. And the illustrator is Jody Bergsma. Now, Jody is from the Northwest. So it's a lot of the energy of the indigenous nations from the upper Northwest. And the author, Linda Iwashina, she is from British Columbia. Okay. Yeah, and this is what the back of the cards look like. So it's a variation of the medicine wheel, right? Because there's just not one meaning of the interpretation of the medicine wheel. So we'll be learning something a little bit new together. And I'm doing my best with another language. All right. So when we're looking at this card, one of the things that jumped out at me in the writing of this is that it's all about what we've accomplished. Many of us here at Star Nations Community, we have been awake on our journey here, our physical journey, and we just don't recognize that we're a spirit having a physical experience, but we believe that we are spirit having a physical experience, and that's a difference, right? In meaning and understanding. And so, in order to have soul growth, we've faced our life lessons, right, in an awakened state. Yeah, doesn't mean that others that face their life lessons in a less than conscious state doesn't mean they don't have soul growth. It just means that when we're consciously aware of what's going on in our life from a spiritual point of view, that we can deepen the understanding of the experience. And so when we have healed or released whatever it is that we're working with, that our soul growth, our expansion is that much deeper, that much wider. And our understanding, right, is a balance between our head and our heart, right? And so this particular card with the medicine or the spirit of the South, the direction of the South on the medicine wheel, from the author's point of view, saying, look how far you've come. You've come a great distance in your soul growth, and that you're discovering the power of the self. That the South direction represents the emotional maturity that we've learned from that life experience, that life lesson. And here's the one sentence that kind of jumped out at me, okay? It says, facing your fears is never an easy task, but it is now within your power to control your fear. So be gentle with yourself and feel good about where you are. Yeah. So this is, I think, a very important message coming through this card today, because I do believe that many of us here have been consciously working on our soul growth, meaning that we've been doing our healing work on ourselves. We've been facing our fears. We've talked about facing fears for a whole year practically, right? And that that we know that when we face our most deepest fear, that on the other side of that is our deepest desire, right? And so when we do those the healing and the releasing of whatever that feeds that fear, that is that fear, we're learning about ourselves at the same time. That's what this card is talking about. And so we understand when we recognize, I remember what that felt like. I remember when I was dealing with that piece of experience, that kind of fear. And so, we recognize it. And so we're in a much better position to be able to say, oh yeah, I see you. Now, I do know I have some experience to be able to deal with you when this is the next maybe deeper pass at healing again, at maybe another one of your bodies. Let's say the first time round in the healing work that you did, it was about your emotional trauma. So you're healing your emotional body, right? And you work through that and you gained your wisdom from it, right? So the next time you recognize the feelings about, oh wait, that I thought I dealt with that. I recognize what that feeling was. Now, maybe this time around, you'll be healing the mental aspect of that trauma, or possibly the physical aspect of that trauma. And so now you're understanding it even at a deeper understanding, right? So when we get through all four bodies in healing that and gaining the wisdom from each one of those healings, when we work it all the way through all four bodies, then we're at completion, right? That we're at completion. And so when we hit that, when we get there, then we've learned how to master that kind of fear. It's because we recognize it and we think, oh yeah, okay. I remember the last time when it was felt like that, this is what I did. Or this is who I contacted, right? Yeah. So there's mastery there. And this particular card is telling us that we've done the work. We've done the work. And now we're at the position of gaining the mastery over that fear. She calls it the power to control the fear. I'm not so much into the control thing, right? And so I'm really looking at it from a point of view of mastery, so that we learn how to use our gifts and our tools and our skills, our education, and everything that we understand about ourselves. When we sense, feel, or see something similar to that fear, we know what to do. We know what to do. And we're really good at it. Right? We're really good at it. Okay. And Rochelle saying, have a hard time again with Facebook. Oh, well, drats. Try refreshing, going out and coming back in. That worked for you yesterday. Yeah. And Tina said, I was just telling John I would love to go to British Columbia. Well, you kind of are with the energy of the cards, right? But I know what you mean. I've heard that, I've never been there either, Tina, but I've heard that it is beautiful there. And I have several friends who live there. And if I remember right, I don't know, Rob's not in the house, and I didn't see Julie Shumway Hill in the house. I'm gonna have to look it up. Ghost bears. They are actually they're part of the brown bear species, I think. But anyway, there's an island very close to British Columbia where they reside, and they are protected. And you very seldom see them, but some people have and taken pictures. They're called ghost bears, and I think that they're in the area of British Columbia, and I'd love to see that for myself, my own two eyes. My own experience, right? Hey, Christina's here too. Well, I jumped on the perfect time. Well, good. Divine timing and all that, right? That's right. Okay, so this is the first card. It's the direction of the south. Now, I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce this correctly. Shawdonese. It's about growth, lessons, trust. And the stone on the medicine wheel in this variation of the medicine wheel. I was trying to find a good word for that, is in the 11th position, the 11th stone. Okay. And I did share, for those who just arrived, I did share the picture of the layout. So for those of you who really want to take a closer look at it, you can enlarge the picture and see where the 11th stone is located, okay? Don't have to. You don't have to, but if that's something that you want to add to your understanding, you can do that. All right, and this particular author actually adds what she's called a prayer. Now, this is, she also calls this deck a meditation deck. So the prayer is kind of like a part of the meditation, all right? So here's what she's written about this for the prayer. Spirit powers of the South, teach me to love and grow through the gentle fires of compassion. Oops, gotta hold the card correctly here. Help me to learn to trust in Great Spirit's plan and to view life's lesson with the understanding that my mind, heart, and spirit are one. Okay. I'm going to say it again because especially that last line. She says, Spirit powers of the South, teach me to love and grow through the gentle fires of compassion. Help me to learn to trust in Great Spirit's plan and to view life's lesson with the understanding that my mind, heart, and spirit are one. You know, and how often have we talked about that here, right? The balance between our head and our heart. Yeah, and it's called living your life from your high heart. In fact, I was just talking to a client about that this morning. Yeah. And so the medicine or the spirit of the South can help us to do that, right? Can help us to do that. And one of the things that I really liked about this message in this card is that it talks about us that, you know, that we faced our fears. Many of us have faced one of the major fears that we have in our lives and have worked our way through it and have experienced that healing through all four of our bodies and have come to a place of completion. And so gained mastery over that fear. Using and experiencing it through compassion. And this card's also talking about this, the spirit of this card is also telling us about trust, right? And trusting in the divine order, trusting in the Creator. That our life is unfolding exactly as it's meant to unfold, given the decisions that we've made, because we have free will. We can make those decisions. We're going to end up at the same place, but it might take us through different pathways to get there, right? Yeah. And that the more we learn how to be in the flow, as they say, right? No matter which decision that you make, and allowing spirit to help us to create the solutions or resolutions that are out there for us, and really having the trust. And many times it's also called faith, right? Having faith in our spiritual teams, having faith in the Creator that this is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. This isn't a coincidence. You know, that it's an all in divine order, right? Tina says to become one with Creator. Exactly. And where do we do that, right? Where do we do that? We're here to, okay, so we've talked about this before as well, is that Grandmother Earth, she is a school for us, right? This is not an elementary school. We're in a PhD program here. And we're learning how to, and remembering, okay, they're saying remembering, learning and remembering how to master the duality here. Yeah, because it is a school based on duality. We have male and female. We have light and dark, right? It's a school of duality. And so it's part of our experience here is to become the one, is to be able to see how those opposing forces, that seemingly opposing forces, how they are actually one. Many times sometimes you guys will see me wear a necklace, and it's the Hunaku, okay, and it's Mayan. I bought it from some artists that were up here in Wisconsin. They were actually from Guatemala, and they were doing some, I don't know, they were teaching some stuff about medicine wheels and labyrinths and that kind of thing. But anyway, their families were with them, and so in order to make a little bit more money, they were selling some of their art stuff, and so what they did was they had done these carvings out of shells, and it was the Hunakub, and some of you might know it as the galactic butterfly, right? And it came to me in a time of my life when I was just really immersing myself in the sacred geometry and learning about the one through that doorway, right? And so the galactic butterfly, or the Hunankub, basically is two opposing forces coming together, and it literally looks like this. And it's about the center of the universe, where it looks like it's two different things, but it's not. It's not. It talks about wholeness and actually talking about the Creator, the great mystery, as the one. And so that's where we're working our way toward, right? Back to remembering about it. Yeah. Love this. Love it. Love it. All right. So the second card, I'm looking at the time. I want to make sure I cover this one because this one's a good one. I had to smile. I was happy for this card. Right. So here's the second card that came. It's called the Great Star Nation. The Great Star Nation. And it's all about mystery void, good fortune, and grace. I have to say, I really like how they depicted, how the artist, Jody Bergsma, depicted the Star Nations. The Star Nation. It's only singular, according to them. The Great Star Nation. Yeah, so we see the North Star, right? A polar bear. To me, that looks like the Aurora Borealis, right? The Northern Lights, or perhaps the Southern Lights. Possibly a glacier. I don't know. Yeah. I really like that bear. It's a good one, I think. All right, so here is what the author has to say about the Great Star Nation. And here we are, the Star Nations, right? So I had to smile, and it made me very happy to see this card and to take in another meaning from another indigenous nation about what the Star Nation means to them. Okay. Oh my goodness. Look who's here. Robert's here. Hey, Robert. Yeah, RW. It's my brother. He's my youngest brother. You came in just in time to hear about the Star Nations, Bob. So here is what the author has to say about the Star Nation. It says, enter the unknown, the mystery void. This place of nothing holds all that is and all that will ever be. What a humbling experience it is to feel the glory of a higher power, to become for a moment like the swan floating motionless on the waters of time. The Great Star Nation card represents this state of grace. You have looked beyond yourself to greater service, and now the Star Nation rewards you. Experience the timelessness of the universe. Good fortune is cast within the stars for you. A wish you have long been hoping for will soon become reality. Accept this gift with open arms, for you have worked hard for it. You have much to look forward to, so enjoy the quiet time to ponder the mysteries of the universe. Stargaze and heal your spirit through the recognition that we are all one in the eyes of the great creator. And it's sitting at the 15th position in the medicine wheel. Which in numerology, that's a 6. Okay. Yeah, and who doesn't like stargaze, right? I know I do. Love it. And looking up at the stars, and I think of, I feel all of those relatives that have already walked on, and looking up, and sensing a place like home for me, right up there. But to be able to pick out certain stars like the North Star, right? Or the planet, or the star Sirius. Do you remember, maybe you guys still do this? I can remember when we were kids, right, Bob? We used to go out and we used to stare up at the stars. I was always looking for that North Star and all the twinkling lights, and sometimes we were trying to watch if a star would actually move, because that might mean it was a UFO. So, and who knows? We probably could have seen one and didn't even recognize it, didn't see it. So the prayer with this card is, I thank the Great Star Nation for the gift of good fortune that is with me now. I am aware that it's only by being humble that I'm able to experience the inner peace and serenity that comes from touching the sacred space. Yeah. And one of the things that this card, the message in this card is all about, is that all the hard work that we've done, all the hard work, both in our spiritual life, in our physical life, in our emotional life, all 4 of our bodies, right? We've done the work. And sometimes it's been pretty darn hard, difficult, things that we've had to face, the fears that we've worked through, right? And what the essence of this card is saying is that the Great Star Nation has seen us do this. And so is now giving us our reward for it. In other words, whatever it is that we're creating, that we're manifesting, right? That they're helping with that, and that we have an ally. We have an ally in the Great Star Nation, right? And this bear, I tell you what, this bear, just looking at him gave me a good feeling. Yeah, I like that face. What are you saying, Bob, here? You're saying, did you say Stargate? Great show. I know, that was one of my favorite ones too. That chevron, when it would go click, 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 and that gate would open. Yeah. Okay. And Tina's saying, one time spirit took me into the void and I was spinning around and around, and being human, I got scared and hollered out for help from from the grandfathers. This was quite a while ago. Yeah. At going to that, into the void. There is the Coke bear. Yeah, it kind of looks like that, right? The Coca-Cola bear. So Tina, yeah, you said that it was that you went into the void. So basically, you went to the center of the universe, right? You went to the center of the universe, which is where the great mystery resides, right? And there's some indigenous cultures that believe that it's just beyond that is the central sun. Yeah, is the central sun. And when you think about that, you know what they call it, the central sun. That's when we're going back to the one, right? And the void, depending on what belief system you're working with even with the sacred geometry, the dodecahedron represents the void. It's also known as prana or ether, and that the universe is breathes in from the void. So we're taking in literally the breath of the creator through that. And that's where all things are created. All things are created using the Platonic solids, the building blocks of all life, right? And so the great star nation is also the mystery void. You know, a while ago, I did a show about the Milky Way. And the Milky Way is also known as the River of Souls. And in many indigenous cultures, they believe that our soul travels on the Milky Way to make our way home. Okay, and when we travel to the west, that there is this leap that our soul has to do, and in that leap is that leap of faith. That and it's onto that good road, right? The good road home, in that Milky Way, and yeah. So that the stars always remind me of that, whether it's sitting in the north or sitting in the south, the west. Yeah. But this particular card today is all about what we've accomplished in our healing and how we've healed ourselves and all the work that we've done to accomplish that. That's what this card is all about today. And that the Star Nation has recognized that, and so is going to be sending us the reward, as she calls it. Trying to see where she said this. Come on, next page. She says, you have looked beyond yourself. I'm sorry. The Great Star Nation card represents a state of grace. You have looked beyond yourself to a greater service, and now the Star Nation rewards you. Experience the timelessness of the universe. Good fortune is cast within the stars for you. There we go. Right? And so if you put the two cards together, I gotta get this one out. I just sounded a little Canadian there when I said out. All right, so here we go. We have the South, Shawdonese, which is all about lessons, growth, and trust, along with Star Nation, right? Which is all about the great mystery, the void, good fortune and grace. And both are talking about things that what we've actually accomplished, what we've healed, the fears that we've faced, that we completed facing a fear. And that was this card, the South, is that we faced a fear, and we've actually worked through all of our bodies to learn all about what we need to learn from it, that experience. We learned a great deal about ourselves, and we've gained mastery over that fear. And because we've done the work, we're very consciously aware of it. The Star Nation, the great Star Nation, recognizes that accomplishment, that mastery, the things that we had to face, the decisions we had to make. And some of those decisions weren't very easy, difficult, that we had to the most difficult one is that we had to face ourselves, right? Yep. But we did it. We did it. And each one of us knows exactly what that is, because that could be different for each one of us. But the end result is the same. That we gained mastery, and that we understand about the Creator and bringing that duality into the one. And Star Nation sees it. Yep, Star Nation sees that, recognizes it, and in saying, you've done it. You've accomplished it. Now here's your gift for it. And maybe that gift is really knowing more about your own gifts, and you having the ability to use them to a greater extent, right? Yeah, that's a huge gift. Yeah, the message in these cards today is all about, that we've done a massive amount of work in our own personal healing and facing our fears and learning those life lessons. That's what this is all about today. And to take and say, that I done good. I did. And that's okay to say that. There's still humility in that. You're still being humble about it, because we didn't do it by ourselves by any stretch of the means. No, we did it because we trusted in the Creator, in the plan, the divine plan, and being in the flow, right, of that. The more we resist it, the harder it was, until we realized, oh my gosh, I just have to float with it, right? I have to just be in the flow of it. And then it was much more graceful. Wasn't quite as a challenge, but we learned a lot from it. Edward says he grins and bears it all. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? I have to say, so far it's one of my favorite pictures. One of my favorite illustrations, that bear. Grins and bears it all. And Tina's saying, my dad, after he died in a dream, said we have to pass over a river, because I asked, where do we go when we die? Yeah, and that's one of the, I think, the common, something that a lot of Indigenous groups people have in common, is that we all have this river in our journey home. Yeah. I'll bring a book tomorrow. I'll have to write a note to make sure I remember to do it. It's a book I read several years ago about the Milky Way and the River of Souls, and that journey, and how where that leap actually is leaping to Orion's belt in the constellation. And so yeah, I think that that river of souls, and that we travel it, right? And there is another place in the Milky Way where it's like a Y. It kind of divides. The pathway divides, and we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. And in some belief systems, that's where, like in the Egyptian belief system, they have the feather, right? Your good deeds are weighed against the feather, or your deeds, and if yeah, light as a feather kind of thing. Anyway, we have to make a decision based on what we've learned here and what we've accomplished here. Is that if we take one side of the pathway, we come back into the life cycle again, right? And if you believe in reincarnation, you'd call it reincarnation. Same soul, different body, right? The same thing we're doing right now. But if you have accomplished what you came here to do, and you can actually literally not have to go through that cycle again. You don't have to be back on the wheel again. And so you go on to your next experience, possibly even as a spirit guide or a spiritual teacher, depending on how much you've accomplished here, And so as Tina, as you're sharing about what your dad shared with you, I think that he certainly gave you some good information, I think. That peek into that. Well, hello, Christina. Welcome to the show, Spiritual Roundtable. Yeah, I should probably show that again, huh? So people know what they're watching. We're nearing the top of the hour here, and these are the two cards that came today. And the first card is about the direction of the south, right? And the Great Star Nation. And it really, today's message really is all about is recognizing that we have all done a great deal of work healing our emotional and mental traumas, facing our fears, mastering that fear, and using all of our gifts as much as we can. Everything, all of our skills and talents, our education, both formal and informal, and really consciously being aware of it, consciously working to do the healing work that we needed to do and the releasing. And the Great Star Nation, recognizing all that work and saying you're being rewarded for everything that you have accomplished. Yeah. So it's a good one. I think so. It's a good one. So, you know what I'm going to say about resonating for those who watch the show with me. Anything and everything that resonated with you today, whether it was a word or a phrase or maybe even the whole thing, whatever that was, okay, is to embrace it. That's my suggestion, is to embrace it. And then sense, feel, or see how today's energy is unfolding around you and where this information may be helpful. Okay. And if it didn't resonate, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings by saying, I didn't know that one didn't do it. That's okay. There's always tomorrow's cards and see what happens then, right? Yeah. And for those of us who can sit back and reflect on this a bit and say, yeah, I think that this card was these two cards was all about, and then name the fear that you were able to face and heal the traumas around. And you can sit back and you say, okay, it must be my validation that I completed what I was supposed to complete and learn from that and gain the wisdom from it, right? And celebrate it. Be happy about it. Be joyful in it. Because with that, you just had an expansion in your soul growth, which means that you're remembering what it's like more and more to be, out of duality, right? Stone with Mervyn Kelly at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And then at noon is Chakra Sessions with Polly Jo LeBay. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Time is my weekly evening show, and that is Communications from Home. We're going to be talking about the magazine, June issue of Star Nations magazine, the backstories, right, of how this issue came to be and all the things that went into it, and giving you a little peek into the cover articles, the cover stories, titles. In fact, we just published that today, the June issue. And then Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Polly Jo LeBay in her evening show, Soul Connections, and that's all about healing. The first part of the show is the healing meditation, and the second part of the show is about the individual card draws. So if you enjoy getting a mini reading, you can join us for that, the second half of the show. On Thursday is Ed Langdon's show, Life Wisdom. And he is going to be sharing with us all about money and changing our thoughts and our patterns around money. And he's going to be doing some EFT, some tapping to help us to release what needs to be released around that individually for us as we do the tapping. And then at the second half of the show is all about some channeled messages. And so if you'd like to ask Ed a question, and with his team, he channels some of the Ascended Masters. Couldn't remember the name of it. Ascended Masters that work with him. And so we can get you the link to ask your question ahead of time. And keep in mind that if you ask a general question, you're going to get a general answer. If you ask a little bit more specific question, you're going to get a more specific answer. Okay. But you can join us for that. And that's at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. Yeah. And then Thursday night, it's not really a live stream show, but Polly Jo LeBay is flying in from Massachusetts to Wisconsin, and I get to go pick her up from the airport on Thursday because her weekend class starts on Friday night, and that's Awakening to Your Soul Purpose. Yay. It's a healing weekend with Polly Jo LeBay. We do have room for a few more people if you'd like to join us. Just take a look at Star Nations Organization's website and click on the Academy button, and you'll see all the information there. Okay? All right. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Spiritual Roundtable at 3 p.m. Okay. Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.